Hi everyone, it's Moo. This man is Lester Levenson. He was born in 1909, and he went to school and he became a physicist and an engineer and eventually a self-made millionaire through business. But his life was pretty much a constant state of turmoil. He had a lot of stress and anxiety and all kinds of illnesses. And in 1952, when he was only 42 years old, he had a second massive heart attack. And the doctors told him that there was nothing they could do for him. So they sent him home, and they told him he had about 2 weeks to live. So Lester, being a scientist and thinking like a scientist, he decided to go back to the drawing board and start from scratch, from point zero, as he said. And he started to examine his life. And he recognized that each time he was sick, that he was wanting something. And those intense wanting feelings were what was actually making him sick and miserable. He wanted love, he wanted money or more money, he wanted to change things. And every time he looked at that wanting, he had an uncomfortable feeling about it, and he could trace it back to his illness. And he also noticed that whenever he was giving and loving, that he wasn't wanting anything, and he wasn't sick. So he asked himself, if he could get rid of all of his non-loving feelings, would he get better? And he thought about that question. And he noticed that when he was loving, he was happiest. That happiness equated to being loving rather than being loved. So that was his starting point. And he wondered if he could cure his illness that way. And he began thinking that way. And he went from wanting to be loved to just loving. And he basically liberated himself, is the bottom line. And he went free. He stayed in his body and he went free. He became a free one. And he lived another 42 years before he consciously decided to leave his body. Now, before he died, he asked one of his students, Larry Crane, to carry on his work, which Larry has done in the form of the Release Technique program. But right now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the love that Lester was talking about in his book, The Ultimate Truth About Love and Happiness, A Handbook to Life. And Lester said, square all with love. But love is a misunderstood word. We think of love as human love, the kind of love in human relationships, but that's not it. That's not this kind of love. Love isn't sex. People have mistaken sex for love or confused it with love. And I think that people crave sex or want sex because they're actually craving and wanting love. So the kind of love that Lester talked about is the kind of love that is applied to everyone equally. We love family, friends, the same as we love strangers. The same as those society might judge or deem as unworthy of love for whatever reason. It doesn't vary. Acceptance could be another name for love. We allow all. We allow the person, the world, whatever it is, its own beingness. It's an equal-mindedness for all. It's a feeling of oneness with other one and all other ones. It's feeling yourself as the other person. And that's what Jesus meant by love and treat others the way you would want to be loved and treated. Love is the most powerful force in the universe. It really is. And it's always present. It's always present now with us, underneath any other feelings and emotions that we might be feeling. It's there. It's right there. Love is a state of harmlessness. It allows others to be as they are, to be their own beingness. And Lester said, the more you are capable of loving, the more you are helping the world. All minds are interconnected, interactive, and interreact. The more an individual increases his or her love, the more everyone is helped. And Lester knew that we are all really one. And one time he was asked to speak, and he said he was trying to decide before he went up on the podium, well, should I talk about you or should I talk about me? And then he said, then I remembered there's no difference. And there really isn't. So, if you go to planetmoo.com/products, you'll see a link to Lester's work that ultimately became what's known as the release technique, and also the Sedona Method. But I have a link to the release technique, and I'll also put up a link to this book and some others of Lester's. And I wish you all peace and love.